You know, if you've ever read the Gospel of John, there's this one part that probably made you stop and go, wait, what? I know it did for me. We're going to explore a phrase that's honestly confused people for ages. Why on earth would Jesus call his own mom, Mary, woman?
I mean, think about that famous scene at the wedding in Cana. To us, today, calling your mother woman just sounds so blunt, right? It sounds dismissive, even kind of disrespectful. It's one of those lines that really makes you scratch your head and wonder, what is going on here?
So, that's the big question we're going to dive into. Was he being harsh, or is there something much, much deeper going on here? Something that got lost in translation over 2,000 years?
Well, the answer, like it so often is with ancient texts, is all about the language. See, the problem isn't really what Jesus said. It's about how our own language, English, has changed so dramatically. The word woman just doesn't mean to us what it meant to them.
So to really get to the bottom of this, we have to go back to the original source. We've got to look at the language the New Testament was actually written in, Koine Greek. And that, right there, is where we find the key that unlocks this whole thing.
Okay, and here it is, the big reveal. The Greek word he actually used is ginake. And get this, it wasn't casual or rude at all. In fact, it was the total opposite. It was a formal, incredibly respectful title. The best way to think about it is like saying my lady or madam to someone you have immense respect for.
So just imagine that difference for a second. What our modern ears might hear as a rude, hey, you, a listener back then would have heard as something deeply honorable, like, dear lady. The difference is just, it's huge. It changes everything.
And this wasn't just a one-time thing. Jesus uses this exact same word, unai, in other really powerful, tender moments. He uses it when he speaks to the Samaritan woman at the well, and he uses it again when he talks to a grieving Mary Magdalene right after the resurrection. It seems to be his go-to way of addressing women with real dignity and respect.
Okay, so now that we have that crucial piece of the puzzle, let's go back to that first scene, the one that can feel so strange, the wedding at Cana.
Let's look at that line again, but this time, let's mentally swap out woman for something like dear lady. Dear lady, what does this have to do with us? My hour has not yet come. Wow. The whole tone just shifts, doesn't it? Suddenly it's not harsh at all. It's a serious but profoundly respectful conversation.
So here's what's really going on. By using this formal title, Gemini, instead of just saying mother, Jesus is signaling a huge shift. He's gently establishing that his mission, from this point forward, is guided by his Father in heaven. He's not just Mary's son anymore, living a private life. He's stepping into his public role as the Messiah. So it's not a personal rejection, not at all. It's a redefinition of their relationship in a public way.
And you know how we know this is right? Mary's reaction. It tells us everything we need to know. I mean, if she was offended, do you think she would have responded like she did? No way. She wasn't hurt. She got it. She understood perfectly. When she turns to the servants and says, do whatever he tells you, she's basically passing the baton. She's affirming his new authority. She's saying he's in charge now. It's his time.
Now, let's fast forward to the second time Jesus uses this word for his mother. And this moment, I think, is even more powerful and really cements our understanding.
So the scene is the crucifixion. Just try to picture it. In the middle of just unimaginable pain, Jesus looks down from the cross and sees his mother standing there. And in that moment, this moment of profound suffering and love, he speaks to her. And again, he calls her woman.
And this is so important. Far from being cold or distant, this was an act of incredible love and duty. See, as the eldest son, it was his sacred responsibility to make sure his mother, who was a widow, would be cared for after he was gone. So by using that formal, respectful address, woman, he's publicly and almost legally entrusting her care to his dear friend, the disciple John. It's his final, tender act to make sure she's safe.
And there's another layer here too. A lot of theologians believe that by using the title woman, Jesus is also elevating Mary's role in the whole story of redemption. It's almost like he's connecting her to that first prophecy in Genesis about the woman whose child would ultimately triumph over evil.
So you see, when you put all these pieces together, everything starts to make sense. What seemed confusing at first becomes crystal clear. The entire issue just dissolves once we get the proper historical and linguistic context.
So let's just recap real quick. The tone, not dismissive, but deeply respectful. The intent, not to push her away, but to honor her and establish his own divine authority. And the modern-day equivalent, it's not, hey you, it's dear lady or madam.
So back to our original question. Was Jesus being rude to his mom? The answer is a clear, resounding no. Absolutely not.
He was using a title packed with honor and respect, a title that recognized her dignity while also bookending the start and finish of his incredible, world-changing public ministry.
And all of this really leaves us with one final big thought. It makes you wonder, right? What other things in history, what other ancient texts are we getting completely wrong just because we're looking at them through our own 21st century glasses?